I'm always on time. I'm ahead of the game, I'm first place. I'm in my prime. Hard work that pays off. I pay dues, I'm paid off. Cross me, get crossed off. I'm so fresh, I'm so raw. Go hard like A-Day. It's game time like game day. I ball hard and just play.
This season, watch the Hungry Jacks NBL take it to the next level.
We'll race anything around here. Even the odd penny farthing.
It's been 5 days since the Tasmania JackJumpers celebrated their first win in the NBL. They are 1-1 in the Blitz. The hype is real and the hype is large as they get set for Sunday afternoon basketball, taking on the Adelaide 36ers, who are undefeated so far at the NBL Blitz. Jack Everin joined in commentary by Liam Santamaria for Game 2 at the Ulverston Sports and Leisure Centre a few moments ago. It was the Perth Wildcats winning 96-87, but all eyes turned to Team Green. Now, Liam, even though they're wearing white today.
Yes, Jack. No, it's going to be a good one. The 36ers have been impressive so far in the preseason. Daniel Johnson, of course, 33 in his first game, and he's back out there. And there's Todd Withers. There's been a bit of uncertainty. I said he was going to play earlier, and then there was a suggestion that maybe he wasn't good to go, but he's ready to go in the starting lineup. So we're going to get a look at the two imports. We're going to get a look at Johnson and Humphreys back together, who was so dynamic in the front court for Adelaide, and Mitch McCarron, of course, their star recruit at the point guard position. And the JackJumpers, they've been impressive over the course of their first couple of games. Got a big win against Cairns on Tuesday night, and looking forward to seeing them back out in front of this big crowd in Ulverstone.
The crowd's been building across the afternoon to see the JackJumpers. They love what they saw in their win on Tuesday against the Taipans. 81-66 winning that. And Will Magnay, that's the other big news. Todd Withers playing is big news for Adelaide. Will Magnay out on the floor and starting today for the JackJumpers. It's great to see.
Yeah, that's big. Scott Roth, the head coach of the JackJumpers, told me earlier that they're going to play a minutes restriction. He's going to play about 12 or 14 minutes. Will Magnay today, all in the first half. They'll shut him down at halftime, but he's out there to open the game.
Starting fives for both teams. Mitch McCarron out there with Daniel Johnson, Todd Withers, Isaac Humphreys, and Dusty Hanners on cue. He's fouled in the first 8 seconds of the game for the JJs. Majette, McVeigh, Adams, Magnay and McDaniel. So Scott Roth been pretty consistent, other than, of course, Will Magnay, but been pretty consistent with his starters at the NBL Blitz.
I like it. You know, some coaches are mixing up their rotations, their lineups, getting a look at how different guys play together. But this JackJumpers team have been together on the practice floor for longer than anyone else in this preseason. And I like the idea of trying as much as you can to get used to who you're going to be playing with come opening night. And I also quite like the look of Mikhail McIntosh, their third import, off the bench. He's given them a real punch off the bench in their previous games.
As Will Magnay, welcome back. First points as a jack jumper off a beautiful lob. No issues with his spring in that first action. Johnson falling away, doesn't get it to stick. Rebound by Sam McDaniel. Josh Magette running the point. 12 points and 5 assists in the first game. Had 13 in their win over the Taipans. McDaniel off the window, no good. And McCarron skips it ahead for Johnson, who takes it in motion and lays it up with one to come.
Good run from Johnson in transition. Nice find from Mitch McCarron. Beautifully weighted pass as he lofted it over the defense. And I tell you, that's what we've been waiting to see for the JackJumpers. That Will Magnay, Josh Magette combination. Scott Roth told Will Magnay as he signed him in free agency, I'm going to get you a good point guard, a guy who will put the ball on the spot for you. And I like the look of Will Magnay. He looks lighter. He looks leaner.
Yep.
He was quick off the floor for that athletic alley-oop. They are great signs for JackJumper fans.
That's a great pickup, Liam. There was some discussion as Adams gets to the top and nails the three. Some felt that Will Magnay came back from America almost too big.
He did.
And he couldn't move.
He was thicker up top for sure. He was a little bit heavier, and of course he had that ankle issue that was slowing him down. But no, he looks lean and springy to open this one.
Use that word springy again. I like it. You got it in yesterday and you've got it in again today. And you
There
got a
it is.
piece of Isaac Humphries.
This is what we wanted to see from Will Magnay. Blocking shots down one end, throwing down alley-oop dunks down the other.
Adams behind the back and then for three in the face of Dusty Hanners.
Oh, and right in front of his head coach, Scott Roth as well, who is enjoying this highlight reel start to the game.
The JackJumpers away fast. Johnson threw it away. McVeigh in the right place at the right time. Magette gives it straight back to Josh Adams, who's the man with the hot hand to start this game. McVeigh peels out against his former team, and he makes it count from up top.
Love it. Great ball movement from the JackJumpers. Good pass, extra pass there from Josh Adams. Jack McVeigh picking and popping and knocking it down.
11-4 start for the home team. 36ers slow out of the gate. Johnson's pass deflected on the way through for Todd Withers. Johnson still fighting at the offensive end. Loose ball win for Tasmania. McDaniel has Adams. Catch and shoot three, jumps out of the cylinder. 36ers dodge a bullet. Withers at the other end, no good. Magette from well beyond the arc. How's the level of confidence that Tasmania have started this game with?
Make him pay. Make him pay, Josh Magette. Nobody picked him up at all. So he strode into NBA range three-point territory, and he drilled it. 14-4 JackJumpers. Timeout Adelaide.
They are shooting the lights out. 3 of 3 from outside. The Adelaide 36ers are asleep, Liam.
Meanwhile, the JackJumpers up and about. Josh Adams, whackety-whack from long range. There's the extra pass for Jack McVeigh, who's ready to toe the line and let it fly. And as we say, Magette, defensive breakdown from Adelaide. And there was no letting them off the hook. And what we didn't see there was the beautiful alley-oop to open the game. set the table. Great play call from Scott Roth. Said, all right, Will Magnay's going to step out here for his preseason debut and his first possession as a jack jumper. Let's run something where we get him going towards the hoop, and our pass-first point guard's going to put it right on the spot.
This goes back to what we were talking about in the last game when it comes to the jack jumpers, that especially at home at My State Bank Arena, where it's going to be an amazing atmosphere, they're going to catch teams on the hop because of the energy and the intensity that they're bringing to games. And they've done that here. They lead it by 10. CJ Bruton looking for a bit more efficiency out of the timeout. Humphries, nice pass for Johnson. Little floater in the lane goes. That helps. Sunday Deck quickly into the game for Adelaide. Majette, nice wraparound pass for McDaniel. It doesn't stick. But good offense all the same for Tasmania. Magnay pounces on the loose ball. McDaniel, same spot, better result, second time around.
You're going to get open looks if you're a jack jumper and you run the lanes and you space out, because Majette just makes really smart decisions. Will Magnay humps that middle lane, sucks the defense towards the rim, and Sam McDaniel's left wide open on the arc.
Dusty Hanna's first field goal attempt finds the bottom of the net. His first game, he didn't play the first game, was 4 of 14 from the field in game 2 against the Wildcats. Magnay rolls it home, under pressure from Humphries. 4 points in his first game of the NBL Blitz. Humphries at the other end though, drains one in the face of Magnay.
Oh, nice to see those two guys going head to head. Two Aussies with NBA experience. Have each just played a couple of NBA regular season games, but have both had big impacts on the NBL over the last couple of years.
And Magnay at the top of the key. 3 ball is good.
Well, this is fantastic. He's a little gassed, breathing heavily, Will Magnay. A few minutes into this one, but this is exactly what we all wanted to see from Magnay. Offensive foul there. Great positioning defensively as he draws the contact from Humphries. But just look at him. Look at the body shape.
Yep.
He is lighter. He is leaner. And what a great first 5.5 minutes as a jack jumper that was from Will Magnay.
He couldn't have asked for any more. Scott Roth would be delighted. So much of Tasmania's hopes this year are going to hinge on Will Magnay in the middle. That was superb. Fabian Krislovic comes in. It's his replacement, Cam Bairstow. You can see there, number 41, the late season signing.
It was actually on this court 2 years ago. We spoke about the Nate Jawai tip-in over Adelaide in Ulverston at the Blitz 2 years ago. It was on this court on that night, the first leg of that doubleheader, that Will Magnay kind of splashed back onto the scene. He'd had a big off-season playing with the World University Games team and came in as the Bullets took on a Big V All-Stars team at the Blitz, and he completely tore it apart, and everybody's heads turned. And, you know, of course, he didn't look back over the course of that rest of that season. Well, back on that court tonight, this time for the home team, has come out and had a big first few minutes.
Sorting out some issues with the clock. 7 points for Magnay, 6 for Josh Adams. 6 of 8 from outside the arc to start the game. That is deadly from the jack jumpers. There's Mikhail McIntosh coming in as well. 16 points in his first game. Had 12 in game 2. That's not the start that he was after.
He picks up the offensive foul there. Just wasn't quite set as he tried to free up Majette. But yeah, no, he's been really good. He's been 12 of 20 from the field over their first 2 preseason hitouts. McIntosh, and he's a matchup problem You know, a little bit like Jay Tate.
Yeah.
A couple of seasons ago for Sydney. He's too quick for the bigs and he's too strong for anyone a little smaller.
McIntosh trying to go to work on Bairstow. Late foul call. See Clint Steindl subbed into the game. The Jack Jumpers during the week announced their leadership group. Clint Steindl will get the opportunity to captain Jared Weeks, the vice captain of Tasmania in their inaugural season. Great honour for Clint Steindl.
It is, and a really good opportunity for him. Of course, has learnt under some really good leaders during his time with the Wildcats. Damien Martin, of course, Jesse Wagstaff, Greg Heyer. Has been able to see how those guys go about leading an organisation, and the Jack Jumpers in so many ways trying to copy that ultra successful Perth Wildcats blueprint, and Steindl's part of that process.
He was very good in the second game. It was 3 of 8 in game 1, but came on for a couple of quick bursts in their win over Cairns and was knocking down threes. Looked like he had some confidence back in his game. Nice pass from Mojave King, and Bairstow takes care of the rest.
Really nice pass from King. So he comes in, they give him the ball as the primary ball handler, and quickly finds Bairstow underneath for an easy bucket.
24-12. Kenyon and Krislovic find a way to get Steindl open. He is shooting with confidence.
Beautiful play call from Scott Roth. Puts Clint Steindl in the game, will run something for him. He's a microwave and he comes up shooting.
And Majette from the logo that time. A little heat check perhaps. There's NBA range and then there's just miles out.
Is he aware of where the FIBA three-point line is located?
He should be.
Have they pointed it out to him?
You can take a step closer,
Just
Josh.
come in a little closer.
It's still 3. He's running the point with great effect. He looks to be the perfect man for this team. As you say, Scott Roth promised that they'd get a point who would facilitate, and that they have. This time a little closer. See, we told you.
Well, not that much closer. Still got some room to move, but he's just such a skillful player, Josh Majette. We've talked about his playmaking, his assists. He is highly likely to lead the NBL in assists this season, given his talents and how Scott Roth wants him to run this team. But as you can see there, has the ability to keep the defense honest. You leave him open, give him a little bit of space, he'll knock it down. And he has this Jack Jumpers offense humming in this first quarter.
Magnay comes back for a couple more minutes to close out the quarter. Jared Weeks also in for Josh Majette. And Nick Marshall, really promising young talent. Nice drive and dish for Johnson. Well, the offensive foul going against Adelaide.
Well, and it was off the whistle. It was after the whistle. And he was probably going to get called for his own foul because Bairstow had got him up off the floor. But Will Magnay got higher then than he did at any time in a Perth Wildcats jersey last season.
Steindl just inside the three-point line. Making it happen for himself that time. Very quickly up to 5 points. The Jack Jumpers captain. It's Bairstow. Speaking of looking healthy, Magnay got a piece of that. His second block shot. It's just about to talk about Cam Bairstow, Liam, and how in the blitz we've seen him, he's been really hampered by injuries for a long time. He looks to be moving quite well. McIntosh falling away, tough too. And Marshall getting up the floor. Can't make the layup happen. Be an Adelaide ball.
No, you're right. Besto looks good. He's had 9 offensive rebounds so far in the NBL Blitz over those first couple of games. So that's a good sign. His energy and activity's there on the offensive glass. He himself looks kind of light and lean, which is good for a guy that's had back and lower limb issues over the last few years. And if they can get kind of 75% of the games out of Cambesto this season, that's going to be a great pickup.
Josh Adams called for a charge. Scott Roth continuing to roll the substitutions out. Adams comes out, and Nikita Mikhailovsky, another next star. It's been a big weekend for the next stars. And the Russian, who's had limited minutes, 10 minutes in the first game, 5 in the second, gets a chance to finish off this first quarter. As Weeks stole it away. Now they go down to Magnay. Weeks with time on the clock. Patient offense. This time down from the JackJumpers. Mikhail McIntosh forces the 36ers into another foul.
It was patient, but it was a little stagnant there from the JackJumpers. When they throw it in, Will Magnay down low, got to get a little movement. Someone's got to slash to the basket. Screens away from the ball. No movement with Magnay in the block. No movement with McIntosh in the block, but the import did enough to draw the foul. The JackJumpers will take it out.
Whistle goes against Tasmania. Against Jared Weeks. The 36ers have got 12 on the board as we come up to quarter time. It's not a lot. They've had all sorts of problems offensively. Some of it has had to do with looking after the basketball. Bairstow for 3. Magno swallows that up. Late in the quarter, Weeks putting his head down and driving. Nice move. Free throws coming for him.
Good take from Weeks. The timing a little out of whack there for the JackJumpers as they execute in the half court, but they work their way through it. Weeks has that quick change of speed when he gets on the attack, draws the foul.
This is the first time I'm reliably informed by the stats man, Mark Slocum, the stat man, I should say, not the stat man. First time any team in the Blitz has led by 20.
There you go. Stat man getting some work done here on a Sunday afternoon.
That's why he's the best in the business. Hope he's not charging Sunday rates. Weeks goes 1 of 2. Last play belongs to the 36ers. Bairstow in the low block. McIntosh just doing enough to force him into a change of plan. And that was a scrappy end to a scrappy quarter for the Adelaide 36ers. Tasmania lead 33-12 after 1. And the home fans are loving what they're seeing.
Big quarter for Tassie in lots of different ways. Most importantly, the preseason debut of Will Magnay. There's their opening offensive possession. Majet finds Magnay and he loves it as he gets all over the rim. Beautiful play call, beautiful execution, and just what a beautiful start it was to the game. Adams got going from long range. They started moving the ball. McVeigh, Majed, everybody chiming in from three-point territory. And meanwhile, down the other end, it was really clunky for Adelaide. 8 first quarter turnovers, 5 of 15 from the field. And with McCarron playing just sort of the first half of that quarter, they really didn't get anything going after that, as the offense really wasn't ticking over at all. But Will Magnay was the story of that first quarter. We got our first impressions of him in NBL 22, and they were terrific.
I think your first point, or your first observation, Liam, about how much lighter he is a really good one. And whether that's Will's decision or whether that's the strength and conditioning team at the JackJumpers who are trying to manage his body a little better, but it looks good. It looks more like the Brisbane Will Magnay in terms of the way he's able to move.
Well, I think the wrong decision was what was made over in the States to bulk him up.
Yep.
Because he's an athlete, and he's a bouncy rim protector and a guy that you need to be getting above the rim at the offensive end. So he got a little too top heavy, and the ankle injury didn't help at all as part of that process, and it just took away completely from what he needed to do. So I love the fact, I was saying throughout the offseason, I just want to see when Will Magnay steps back out there for the JackJumpers, I want to see him light and lean and bouncy, because that will mean he'll be back to playing to his strengths, and that is exactly how he looks in his preseason debut.
33 is the best first quarter of the NBL Blitz, and it's the equal best quarter of all quarters here at the Blitz. What sort of response do we see here from the 36ers? Their starting lineup back on the floor. Mikulovsky staying out there for Tasmania. Dusty Hannah goes screaming up the court. Only one field goal attempt for him in the first quarter. Humphreys trying to get busy. Has to force it back out for McCarron. And the Adelaide skipper stands up.
Let's see if that can spark something here for Adelaide. As they try to work their way back into this game. They've got to get a whole heap of stops, but also need to tick that scoreboard over, and that'll help from McCarron.
See there, number 35 for Adelaide, Todd Withers. His first game, 25 years old, spent last season playing Serie A in Italy. Averaged 10 points and 4 rebounds, but made a name for himself as a three-point shooter there. Went at a clip of 40% from outside. Mikulovsky, this time in the corner. That's better.
Well, that'll help his confidence. He is a sniper. Don't worry about that. And if they can get him open looks, Mikulovsky's going to knock him down.
Johnson fires away at the other end. The Jets starting the second quarter. Had a big influence when Tasmania made their run at the start of the game. Will Magnay fouling Todd Withers.
Jeez, they picked up 3 or 4 of those already, the JackJumpers. Those offensive fouls not quite stationary as they set those picks. There's McCarron knocking it down. That's so important to his game. And the kick out. McIntosh, Mikulovsky, bottom of the net.
Withers did well to drag that in. Hannah's extra pass for big Isaac Humphreys firing away from outside, and Withers scrapping on the offensive glass is going to get himself a couple of free throws. .36ers so far in the NBL Blitz, defeated Cairns 91-87 last Sunday on Tuesday in a bit of a dour, low-scoring encounter. 63-56 winners over the Perth Wildcats. Todd Withers goes 2 from 2 and opens his account as an Adelaide 36er. Fabian Krislovic, formerly of the Taipans, has been asked to play a lot of minutes in the Blitz the first couple of games with no Magnate. On the floor now, McIntosh misses everything. And McCarron puts his head down and wants to get to work for Adelaide. As Johnson posts up on Kenyon. As Humphries standing in a corner, and DJ stepping out for 3. That rattles out.
Well, it took a while to find Daniel Johnson down low. He had Matt Kenyon on his back and he was demanding the ball. They couldn't quite get it to him. Smajet draws the foul. There, McCarron's not happy about it, but just been a little bit better from the 36ers over these last couple of minutes. First couple of minutes of this second quarter. You can feel them kind of working their way into the game. They've lifted their energy a little bit more at the defensive end, fighting through picks, making things a little bit tougher. Offense is still a little clunky, but they're starting to get themselves into this ball game.
Well, they lead this second quarter, 5 points to 3. It doesn't sound like a lot, but small wins when the deficit is this big. Majet, nice pass for Mikulovsky. They had to boot it back out for McIntosh with a foot on the line. Humphries almost travelled. McCarron trying to go coast to coast. Left hand off the glass. Picks up the foul.
McCarron's a big part of that. Just pushing the tempo. Just want to find him in the backcourt. Let Johnson and Humphries run those lanes. And McCarron, when he gets ahead of steam, he's creative in the open floor, making things happen.
NBL Blitz on the road. Started off at MyState Bank Arena. It's going to finish, or certainly start the regular season back at MyState Bank Arena. Games to be played in Launceston before the Blitz is done as well, at the Elfin Sports Centre. JackJumpers will be there on Friday, November 26 against the Cairns Taipans. As Majet found a wide open Fabian Krislovic. Adelaide had stopped because they thought that Majet had travelled. McCarron trying to get his big men involved. Had it taken away from him. And Majet guarded by Humphries, not from there. Just pulls up. Sunday Deck for 3. It's good.
All right, they needed that. Kick out from Hannahs. That doesn't hesitate, lets it fly. Scott Roth can feel it. Timeout, Tasmania. Can sense the 36ers starting to grow in confidence. Yes, it's still a big margin, 18 points, but has been a lot better from Adelaide in these last couple of minutes, and Scott Roth wants to steady the ship again.
What's been better for Adelaide in this second quarter, Liam? At the moment, they lead this second quarter. Only just, but what's improved for them?
I like their effort at the defensive end. First and foremost, you can just see they're sitting down, guarding their guy. They're a little bit more switched on off the ball, fighting harder over picks, making things difficult, forcing the JackJumpers to go to their second or third option. They were getting whatever they want in that first quarter, weren't they? And you saw in the highlights, guys just walk up threes. You know, the alley-oop play to Magnay, just collecting bodies, getting guys open, pick and pop from McVeigh, no rotation, wide open look. And as a result, they were putting all kinds of points on the board. But Adelaide have just made things a little bit more tougher here to begin this second quarter. Slowed the constant flow of points from the JackJumpers. That's taken a little bit of pressure off their offense. knock down a couple of shots, all of a sudden you're eating into that margin.
36ers going in today without Kai Soto, who is sore, and Adelaide being very careful with his management. Tad Dufelmeyer, who we saw sitting on the bench as well, not playing today again, just soreness and erring on the side of caution before round one. There's a steal off the inbound from Mojave King. Some extended pressure from Adelaide out of the timeout. McVeigh back into the game. Was part of that run early on with a big knockdown three. And there they are again, Adelaide. They're clamping down on Tasmania. Krislovic had to be creative and scores against the clock.
Well, they don't get the result there, the 36ers, but that was much better. And your Sunday Deck's leading the way. Guarding Josh Majed, fighting over picks, getting his hands on it, deflections. That's how you start to pick things up defensively and get yourselves into the game.
Krislovic and Bairstow get caught in a little wrestle.
We talk about those guys not playing, Jack, Soto and Tad Dufelmeyer Jr. We weren't sure about Todd Withers. He's been able to suit up and get out there, but I'm getting word that Manny Malou won't take the floor in this one. So when he pulls, gets the DMP, that'll be why. But he's been actually pretty good, I felt, their first couple of games. But he'll be rested today.
His first game in particular. It's 3 of 6 from the field and did a couple of good things defensively too. Josh Adams had an extended rest after a hot start, knocked down a couple of threes, but he's out there once again. McVeigh with his back to the basket, trying to spin into the lane. Life was made hard for him by Mojave King. Small steps, but Adelaide are starting to make some inroads in this. Late clock shot for Mojave King. Catch and shoot three. There's Deck flying in, uncontested. Puts it back in.
Good execution from Adelaide. They thought their way through that, got a wide open look for King, and then the energy from Deck getting an extra possession.
Things are a little cold offensively for the Jack Jumpers in this second quarter. Only 7 points. Foul on the floor on Sunday Deck.
It's been a good couple of minutes from Mojave King. You see him there on the right of your screen. You got the steal off the inbounds, and then you say, as you say, played Jack McVeigh tough on the block. That's where it needs to start with Mojave King this season. At the defensive end, be active, use those physical tools, and let the offense come.
Is that the biggest area? Again, another one who's got further aspirations, or higher aspirations, I should say, with the NBA draft. Is that the area that he really needs to put some emphasis on?
He needs to show the entire package this season, make no mistake. Both ends of the floor, absolutely. But it starts defensively for him, because he does have the tools to be a real impact defender. And he didn't show that at Cairns last season. Now, he had some times where, okay, they put him on a Bryce Cotton and say, that's your job, and he really locked in. But for a lot of that season, he fell asleep off the ball, he missed blockouts, some blow-bys. He needs to make sure he locks in defensively, uses those tools, and lets everything else flow from there.
It's McCarron setting the tone, and Bairstow runs the floor. The crowd at Ulverston a little silent in this second quarter. They're just sensing that the game is changing. Adams steps up and knocks down a three when they needed it. He has 9 points. McCarron deep on his 2. A bit happening off the ball. Magnay and Bairstow as they were running down the floor.
I like that from Magnay. Put pressure on Bairstow with how fast he was running that middle lane. So Besto leans in, establishes some contact. Magnay makes sure the official sees it, draws the whistle.
Magnay, the leading scorer, with 7 points.
It was a fun matchup. Magnay and Humphreys, two guys that have led the league in shot blocking the last couple of years. Magnay first, then Humphreys. We're only going to see it for this next 3 minutes. Then, oh!
Josh Majette for Will Magnay. Get used to seeing that, Jack Jumpers fans.
Beautiful execution, and Humphreys right back at him.
Had a little statement on that dunk from Big Ice. The big men have come to play this afternoon. Magnay wants another crack. Puts the ball on the floor and bounces it off the rim and in. I know he's probably going to be on managed minutes this afternoon, Will Magnay. I'm kind of hoping he's not now.
Well, can we get the word to Scott Roth at halftime? Let's just let it ride.
Let him go.
Can we just let it ride? See the big fella in this second half?
He thought about the three.
Well, he knows it too, doesn't he?
He's knocked one down already. McVeigh never shy.
It's like, oh, he's calling for the sub. Will, Magnay, you got 2 minutes left, big fella.
Come on, Will. Maybe that means we see some third quarter action.
Let's just run it out.
Harvey King left open. Finds the bottom of the net.
There we go. That's nice. Timeout called, and hopefully that's Scott Roth saying, you know what, here's your sub. Here's your rest. I'm going to call a timeout. Just get a water bottle, take some big, deep breaths. We want to make the most of these last couple of minutes.
That'll fix it. Have a water bottle.
Well, that's sometimes what you do with your studs when they put their hand up. So, you know what, I'm just going to blow a timeout here and use it to get you a little rest. And when the plan is to shut Magnay down at half-time, here's hoping that's how they go about it. Meanwhile, Adelaide, good response here in this second term. Knockdown there from Mojave King. And they've won this third quarter by 5 thus far. Kept Tassie to just 14 so far in this second term. Tick under 2 minutes to play. That's been a good response.
Their leading scorer is Daniel Johnston with 5. Mojave King also has 5. How does it, or how could it potentially work if Adelaide have Johnson, Humphreys, Soto, Bairstow all available at the same time? How does that work for CJ Bruton?
Well, that's your 4 big rotation. I mean, that'll work just fine. Johnson and Humphreys, your starting unit. Soto and Bairstow obviously coming off the bench, and you know it's not dissimilar. That's kind of what you want. It's not dissimilar to, you look at a team like Southeast Melbourne. Yep. You got Joe Chi and Mitch Creek as your starters. You're going to have Devon Thomas, Dane Pinot coming off the bench. There's minutes available there for everybody. And when you're out there, play at a high intensity, and whoever's got it going is going to get some extended run.
So you see it working? It's Majette for 3. Yes!
Well, I mean, Humphreys and Johnson are proven. And I actually was really impressed with how well they played together last season. Soto and Bairstow are still, there's some question marks there. Bairstow, of course, with the injury history. Can he stay on the floor? If he can, it'll be a great punch off the bench. Soto, look, he's been impressive in his limited minutes in the preseason. He did some nice things in that opening hit out, but it's a big step up to the NBL level, and how we certainly got an intriguing, exciting skill set. Yep. Showed some really good signs, but need to just see a little bit more about how he's going to make the jump to playing against the experience and the talent that you're going to see night in, night out at the NBL level.
A minute before half-time. Tasmania led it by 21 at quarter time. Adelaide have been able to bring it back a little. Adams all the way in. A layup jumps out, but Falls out for McDaniel. And he's guarded by the development player, Nick Marshall. I fancy his chances here, Josh Adams. Pulls up for three. Out of bounds.
Just got a little wild with it there, Josh Adams. He's got a little extra crazy with the finish as he attacked the rim. Wasn't able to finish at the cup and then pounded the air out of the ball on the extra possession.
Nice hand, Sam McDaniel. Just doing the little things that Scott Roth loves. And he wants this Tasmanian team to pride themselves on. Majet back on Humphreys to finish off the quarter. Krislovic couldn't tip it in. And the basket won't count, but the 50 on the board at halftime is what counts the most for Tasmania. 17-point lead over the Adelaide 36ers. So many good vibes coming out of this team right now.
Big first half for the JackJumpers. The people have come, the Taswegians have come and packed out this Ulverstone Stadium to get their first look at the JackJumpers in the preseason, and they have not disappointed here in this first half. And that man, number 22, Will Magnay, in his preseason debut for the brand new club, was the story of the first half. 11 points, 4 boards, 2 steals and 2 blocks in his 13 minutes of the floor. That was the opening offensive possession of the game for the JackJumpers. And there's a lot to be excited about for the Tassie fans, seeing Will Magnay play that way. And for Adelaide, well, they worked their way back into the game nicely, weathered the storm. The JackJumpers 8 of 11 from 3-point territory in that opening quarter. And they just cooled off a little bit in the second term as Adelaide churned things up defensively, started to knock down a few shots of their own. And yes, it's still a 17-point margin, but they were much better in that second term as they won at 21-17.
Tasmania, their focal point is the man that Liam was talking about. Will Magnay has 11 points to go with 4 rebounds, 2 steals and 2 blocks. 9 points for Josh Majet, 9 points for Josh Adams as well. And Clint Steindl with 5 coming off the bench for the Adelaide 36ers. No player in double figures. No player has scored more than 5 either. Mojave King, Sunday Deck, and Daniel Johnson with 5 apiece. So a bit to work on for the Adelaide 36ers in the second half.
For sure. But as we said, they showed some good signs there in that second quarter. And look, that should be all she wrote for Will Magnay this afternoon. Well, they told me 12 to 14 minutes and we'll shut him down at halftime. Well, he's played 13. That seems to be the sweet spot. The temptation would be to just keep him rolling because he was so exciting, looked so good in that first quarter. But they've got their plan in place. They're trying to make sure he's ready for opening night. So that'll make things interesting here in the second half as they won't have that presence. He was the player of the game in that opening half. So can Adelaide take advantage after the break?
At halftime, it is the JackJumpers who lead by 17 at the Ulverston Sports Centre. A short break from us, and we'll be back shortly with more NBL Blitz. Don't go too far on KO Freebies.
We'll race anything around here. Even the odd penny farthing.
Welcome back to the Ulverston Sports and Leisure Centre. It's half-time in Game 2 of our Sunday doubleheader on KO Freebies at the NBL Blitz. The Adelaide 36ers and the Tasmania JackJumpers. The JackJumpers leading 50-33. For those who missed it earlier today, Liam, the Perth Wildcats winning over the Cairns Taipans 96-87 in the first game.
Bryce Cotton and Vic Law, that combination just getting more and more comfortable. Big game from Vic Law, huge double-double, 28-point double-double from him. And yeah, Cotton very good, especially late in the second half when it was winning time. And the Taipans, they got off to a really fast start, and but just weren't able to execute down the stretch. They've got some problems to solve. 0-3 so far in the preseason.
Perth, it seemed as though it was starting to come together a little more, especially in the fourth quarter when the game was there to be won. It was the Wildcats who were a little more organised, a little more efficient. Would you be more pleased if you're a Wildcats supporter with what you saw today?
For sure. For sure, especially, to see Vic Law have a big breakout game like that, a player of the game type performance, that's what you want to see. He needs to be an enormous piece for them this season if they're going to be back in those championship conversations. Matt Knight was that for them as a big for such a long period of time. Sean Redditch. Then you talk about Nick Kay, John Mooney last season, and Vic Law needs to be at that same kind of level. Needs to be an all-NBL type performer. And look, that's just the type of talent that he brings. And once he feels comfortable, if he's healthy, and he put all of that on display today, 28 and 12. Getting it done from all over the floor. He got to the free throw line, 9 of 11 from the stripe, a couple of steals, a couple of blocks. And Cotton, of course, was excellent. And I also thought it was just an under-the-radar, not a bad performance from Luke Travers as well. Look, he's just still finding his feet a little bit offensively. He had a couple of good knockdown triples in the fourth quarter, catch and shoot, open on the arc, but contributing right across the box score. 8 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. It's the kind of guy that could give a 5x5 game a little nudge at some point this season with the role and the minutes. Would be a spectacular thing to see in a 40-minute game. But all in all, a good hit out and a good job from the Wildcats just getting their first win of the preseason on the board.
So after we finish up today, a couple of days break at the NBL Blitz. Back on Wednesday at Ulverston. Cairns and Brisbane first up at 5:30 p.m. Perth and Tasmania at 7:30. And then for New South Wales basketball fans, the Blitz is coming to you. The Wynn Entertainment Centre on Thursday for Illawarra and New Zealand. And all tickets, of course, available at nblblitz.com.au. Start the second half. No Will Magnay, Jared Bairstow starting for Tasmania, so I think he's done.
Well, that's the expectation. And so now the table turns towards Humphreys and Johnson. There's Dusty Hanners bouncing his way into the lane, finishing off the glass, but can Johnson and Humphreys start to regain their chemistry they had at the start of last season before Humphreys went down and assert their authority on the interior with Will Magnay off the floor?
Travel from Josh Adams. Been shooting the basketball well today. 3 of 5 from outside. Fans getting an up-close and personal look here at the NBL Blitz. Johnson back out for McCarron. Back down in, and McVeigh called for a foul on the floor.
And I like that from Adelaide and Mitch McCarron. They've got mismatches at the 4 and the 5. McVeigh a little undersized at the 4. Bairstow a little undersized at the 5. So make a real focus of Humphreys and Johnson. So they give it to DJ in the block. Let him go to work. Draws the foul. They find Humphries underneath.
Nice set, Adelaide. So they look to climb the mountain and cut back this league. Josh Adams took it to the basket. Long arms of Withers worried him out of it. Humphrey spins and draws contact. This is a better start for the 36ers.
Much better start. And they're going to their strengths. Good contest from Withers, good verticality down the other end. And then Humphrey's aggressive down low. And while we're talking about Adelaide bigs, Jack, I want to give a shout out to a former Adelaide big man, Brett Wheeler. Former teammate of mine, turns 50 today.
Wow.
The great man, two-time champion, played in 8 grand final series, Brett Wheeler. But over and above, what a great baller he was. Just a really great bloke. One of those guys, nobody has met Brett Wheeler and just doesn't love the man. Really generous guy. Terrific artist.
Beautiful artist.
By the way. Yeah, great drawer, but just an outstanding human being, and brings up the big 5-0 today. Happy birthday, Wheels.
Can you paint?
No, I can't. There's a lot of creativity in my family.
Is there?
Yes, there is. My old man's a sculptor.
Is that right?
Yes. But
you don't mean too many sculptors.
No. He's a terrifically talented sculptor, and but no, none of those genes flowed onto me.
There you go. I have real trouble with stick figures, so I cannot draw at all. Art and all of those sorts of classes at school were a complete failure.
So we don't get you on the analysis board at any point this season?
No.
Okay.
No.
Timeout called. 12-point margin. Adelaide starting to get themselves going here.
Five 5-0 to start the quarter. CJ Bruton, first season in charge of the Adelaide 36ers.
Well, speaking of champions, it's a 6-time champion as a player in front of you there, and CJ Bruton. And speaking about great blokes as well, he's another guy that everybody loves. CJ Bruton, and really cool to see him get this opportunity. You know, he's done his hard yards as an assistant.
Been a long time coming, hasn't it?
It has. Overlooked for a few jobs, no doubt about it. He's not, you know, you can't hide behind that. But Jeff Van Groningen, those two, of course, combined back in Brisbane, back in the day, the Joey Wright led team in 2007. CJ a big part of that spectacular team that won the title. Jeff Van Groningen, of course, the GM of basketball, and they're combining again here in Adelaide, and I wish CJ all the best. Hope he gets off his head coaching career to a successful start.
What type of coach do you think he'll be? Will life imitate art? Will a lot of what he did as a player come across as a coach?
Well, I think so. Certainly going to be great for Mitch McCarron. No doubt about that. He's been terrific for a guy like Nathan Sobey in Brisbane as a mentor for a playmaker like that. But I think overall he's going to be, you know, it's a bit of a cliche these days, a player's coach, but, you know, his skills as an assistant, offensive foul called on Bairstow there as he cleans up Dusty Hannah's off the ball. He's been a great assistant coach, real arm over the shoulder guy, you know, helping guys to understand the nuances of games and chatting to them when they come off in heated moments, and, you know, refocusing them on the game. And the question is, well, you know, how's his in-game management going to be? You know, the X's and O's. But I tell you, he's in all of his opportunities thus far. Dusty Hannes knocks it in from long range through the contact. It's a little bit of what he's going to bring this season. He's been really successful. I mean, he was coaching Brisbane at the Blitz 2 years ago. Pretty sure they went undefeated.
They did, yeah.
Hoisted the Loggins Bruton Cup at the end of that with CJ in charge. Got off to a winning start here in the preseason with the 36ers, so no doubt he'll be as successful as a coach, well, it's going to be hard to be as successful as he was as a player because he won so many titles. But he's just comes from a great basketball family, and I wish him all the best.
4-point play for Dusty Hannahs, and this lead is back inside single figures. It hasn't been that way for quite a while. Steindl off target. Bairstow with the offensive rebound. And the Jet threw it cross court. High risk pass, and Sunday Decker almost came up with it.
So all of a sudden we've got an 8-point game. It's been 8-zip so far in this fourth quarter after that 4-point play from Dusty Hannahs. And Adelaide have worked their way back into this thing. They were down 21, getting blown out of the building. Will Magnay shut down at half-time. Adelaide right back in it. Another stop right there.
Todd Withers blocking the shot. McDaniel guarding Hannahs. Johnson travels.
Yeah, good call from the ref as Johnson and Hannahs talk their way through what they're trying to get done. And Jack McVeigh, he enjoyed that stop. He's got a bit of a job on his hands right now, trying to guard Daniel Johnson. He's had lots of experience doing it at Adelaide 36's practice over the last few years. Now he's trying to get it done for real for the JackJumpers.
Yeah, Steindl, big knockdown three. They needed that. It was a 9-0 run to start the quarter for Adelaide. Six and a half minutes remaining in the third. McCarron. There's Johnson for three.
That's tough. That is tough. McVeigh did a good job. Showed hard on McCarron and then had hands up as he scurried to recover on Johnson, but hand down, man down on the contest. As DJ rises up and knocks it in.
Now 8 for him. Shot clock at 3 for Steindl. He got it up and away. It's short. Big rebound, Todd Withers. He's done a couple of little things in the last few minutes to help his team's cause. Now McCarron with space. A whistle off the ball. Jared Bairstow is going to sit down. Mikhail McIntosh coming back in also. Bairstow's third foul.
The thing that's helping the 36ers as they work their way back into this game is the work they've been getting done on the boards. Dominating the rebounding count, and they've been just restricting Tassie to one opportunity each and every time down the floor. They've only got 2 offensive rebounds for the ball game thus far, the JackJumpers.
And they give up possession again. They have had issues today, Liam, with exactly that action from Mikhail McIntosh with the handoff and moving screens and spacing. That's the 4th time they've given an offensive foul away.
The 36ers have some good defenders on their team. Sunday Deck, Mitch McCarron, Mojave King when he's locked in, as Hannahs spins his way into the lane and draws the foul. And if CJ has those guys fighting over those picks, coming in hard to break up those dribble handoffs, well, those types of defenders are hard to screen. And so as a result, the JackJumpers have picked up a bunch of offensive fouls on moving picks. And certainly in this third quarter, Adelaide have been able to make them pay down the other end.
Hannahs makes both and has 10 points.
It's now a 14-2 run to Adelaide since half-time.
Unbelievable. How this game has swung. This is where we might learn a bit about Tasmania and their ability to get buckets when it's difficult. Majet just about missed everything. McCarron has Hannah screaming up the floor. That's a wild three. It's out of bounds.
The other thing we're getting a good long look at here, Jack, is the importance of Will Magna.
Oh, yeah.
While he was on the floor in that opening half, the JackJumpers were flying. Really dominating at both ends of the floor. He was sending shots, packing, getting above the rim, catching lobs, throwing them down, and they established a big lead. Well, he got shut down at half-time, and it's been all Adelaide ever since.
We haven't seen Jock Perry in the game as yet. He's played some handy backup minutes as a big for Tasmania. Fabian Kristovic playing all of this third quarter so far. Hannah's trying to score off the glass and gets himself back to the line.
Well, it was Jared Besto that started in Magnay's place to begin this third quarter, but we might see a bit of Jock Perry in this second half. Of course, with Magnay in, you've got Besto, you've got Kristovic, while Perry kind of, at this point, maybe he can change that over the course of the season, but at this point he falls down the rotation a little bit. But maybe in this second half they need a little extra size in place. If Humphreys starts doing some damage around the rim, we might see a little Perry.
A 4-point ball game at the Ulverston Sports Centre. Adelaide have done this the hard way, but they are right back in the game after being 21 down at quarter time. Points are waved away for Kyle McIntosh. Been a bit quieter today, only 2 points, both of those coming from the free throw line. 16 and 12 in his 2 games before this. McDaniel likes it from that spot, doesn't get it to drop. McIntosh with the offensive rebound. Steindel's shot was blocked by Mojave King. Steindl followed up though. He's got a smile on his face.
Heads up play from Steindl to follow that blocked shot and clean up the mess, but good contest from King. Blocked that Steindl 3-point attempt without fouling. That was a much-needed bucket from the JackJumpers. 16-2 it was out of the halftime break before then. So they've got 4 points on the board, Tassie, in the first 6.5 minutes of this third term. It has really dried up offensively.
Nice floater from Dusty Hannahs. 15 points. It feels like he's racked these up pretty quickly. 4 of 6 from the field. Steindl guarded by the long arms of Mojave King. Majet for 2. They'll get another chance here, Tasmania. Steindl with a deep 2 of his own. He's been their primary scorer in this third quarter, the JackJumpers captain. Tassie over the limit. Hannahs to walk to the other end of the floor. There's the now famous YouTube video of Dusty Hannahs. How many in a row was it? 91 or something like that?
Oh, maybe even. I thought it was maybe 97.
97?
Yeah. Oh, mate, he can stroke it. 100%. Spent some time, obviously, a lot of time with the Memphis Hustle in the G League and got some NBA games with the Grizzlies, but he's had some big-time scoring games for the Hustle, and he had a season a couple of years ago where he was kind of in that G League MVP type conversation. So chance for him to come overseas, come into this Adelaide squad, have a big impact and see if he can get another NBA look.
We sold him one short. It was 98.
There you go.
3-pointers in a row. Saw a really good interview with our man John Casey last week. Dusty Hannah spoke to him. He's confident in a good way. He knows he can shoot, and he wants to play a good role for his team. Weeks, catch and shoot three, off target. McIntosh read it well off the rim. Here's Steindl. He's had a really good third quarter. Someone had to stand up for Tassie and stop the rot, and it's the captain.
Some important buckets from Steindl and a couple of key offensive rebounds from McIntosh. He's got the smaller Sunday Detch guarding him right now, and he's getting after the offensive glass.
Nice knockdown from Nick Marshall. Seen some good signs for him in the Blitz. 7 points in the first game. Shot clock now into single figures for the JackJumpers. McIntosh sent Adelaide all up in the air and gets himself back on the free throw line.
Just a steadying couple of minutes here from Tassie. McIntosh and Steindl kind of grabbing the reins a little bit at the offensive end. McIntosh on the glass, Steindl from long range, and just ticking the scoreboard over a little bit. And as we suggested, Jock Perry checking in for his first action of the afternoon.
He's played all over the world, Mikhail McIntosh. South Korea, Belgium, played in France in the G League. France is where he was most recently. Averaged 12 points. Has 3 this afternoon. Marshall settles for 2. Rebound for Matt Kenyon. Here's Jock Perry, all 7 foot of him. Showed in the last game for Tasmania that he's happy to step out and shoot the 3 ball. McIntosh with 1 on the clock. Threw up a prayer and it didn't go. Another good defensive possession for Adelaide.
Good help from Isaac Humphries. McIntosh trying to go to work on Detch down low, and Humphries got involved at the perfect time. Forced the rainbow fall away.
Nice drive, Mojave King. Humphries missed the tip in. Still plenty of time here for Tasmania. They're happy to settle for 1 shot. So shot clock switched off. Weeks kicks it into the corner, but it was a bit out of control. Marshall stepped in and took the charge.
One last opportunity for Adelaide to cut further into this margin before 3-quarter time. It's been an outstanding quarter for them. If it wasn't for Clint Steindl catching fire, they'd probably be in the lead right now, but they've doubled Tassie's score in this 3rd quarter. Turnover here doesn't help.
Weeks to finish it off. No good. Big quarter for the 36ers though. They win it 22-11. They take a point for the NBL Blitz ladder, but most importantly, Liam, with a quarter to play, they give themselves a really good look at winning this one.
Good response from Adelaide because, yeah, geez, they got blown off the court in that opening quarter, didn't they? 33-12 they were down at quarter time. Showed some signs in the 2nd quarter as they got themselves back into the game, but it was still a big margin at half time. but they came out with renewed energy to begin this third term. Now, keep it in context. Will Magnay was a dominant force in the first half, and he's been shut down at half-time, so that's opened things up. It's taken, a dominant rim protector off the floor. He was getting it done at the offensive end as well, Will Magnay, with those 11 first-half points. But credit to Adelaide. They've taken advantage. Hannahs has got going. He's got a bit going from long range. He's been able to get his floater happening and get a little bit happening in the paint as well. And Johnson and Humphries ticking the scoreboard over as well, clamping down defensively, dominating on the glass, which they've done throughout the game. And they're right back in this thing.
And Will Magnay in the second half on managed minutes. Dusty Hannahs now has 16 points, 4 of 6 shooting, and seems to have been a bit more selective today with the shots that he's taking.
I like how he's mixed it up. A little bit from long range, of course, at that explosive 4-point play, highlight reel play, but he's also been doing some stuff off the bounce. It's only been three-point attempts, but he's been getting into the paint, drawing contact. He's 7 of 9 from the free throw line. His floater game's been on point, so it's that mix that's going to make him really tough to guard. If he just relies on three-point attempts to tick the scoreboard over, he becomes a little bit easier to guard. So he's had a good balance offensively so far today.
Start of the last, Hannahs, Humphries, McCarron, Johnson and Withers on the floor for Adelaide. For Tasmania, McIntosh, Kenyon, Steindl, Perry and Weeks. From a foul perspective, Cam Bairstow has 4 for Adelaide. Josh Adams, who spent a lot of time in this second half on the bench, also has 4 fouls. Perry was fined underneath for Kenyon. The shot clock expired.
He just fumbled the catch down low there, Matt Kenyon, and that late in the shot clock results in a turnover.
Johnson had good position. He was there for a while and Humphries found him.
Good pass from Humphries. You mentioned the position. Great steal from Johnson. He's got that height advantage over McIntosh at the 4. Nice high-low action. Humphries to Johnson.
It's a 4-point game once again. Adelaide get up the floor quickly. McIntosh reaching in. Picks up only his second personal foul.
So this is the team I think that's going to be most difficult for McIntosh, I think, at the defensive end. This two-headed monster here from Adelaide, Humphries and Johnson, makes it tough for McIntosh at the 4. But you look around the rest of the league and you see guys, certainly guys like Mitch Creek and Finn Delaney. These guys are tough to guard, but they don't have that excess height and length that are going to be a problem for McIntosh. Vic Law, he'll be a little bit more comfortable in those types of matchups, but right now having a little bit of a difficult time guarding Daniel Johnson.
See Scott Roth, the JackJumpers coach. I was just about to say he looks very calm on the sidelines. I'm not sure that's going to make him remain in that calm phase.
It was a bad turnover. Weeks inbounds to Kenyon and he flips it back to the vice captain before he'd stepped inbounds.
Hannahs shovel pass for Humphries and his touch was good. 61-59, a reminder, at quarter time, Tasmania led by 21. It's been a dramatic comeback here for Adelaide. But they're not done yet. Nice bank. Kyle McIntosh. Johnson fouled after he got the 3 ball away by Jared Weeks. It just feels, Liam, everything offensively for Tasmania since half-time has been hard. You know, when they score it, it feels difficult.
Well, it might get a little easier right now. Josh Majette and Josh Adams, their dynamic import backcourt coming back into the game. I think that they've missed Majette out there running the show, the tempo that he plays at, his creativity with the ball. But you're right, it's been difficult. They've only scored 13 points in the entire second half thus far, 2 minutes into the fourth.
Looks nice and fresh, Daniel Johnson. Played a lot of minutes in game 1 in their overtime win over Cairns, so you can understand why CJ Bruton decided to let him have a rest in the second game. Adams, you can see that he's guarded by Humphries. Humphries did well to stay in front. Majette spots up for 3.
Good decision from Adams. Didn't force it on the attack, but he drew the double team. Now Adelaide's in rotations. Kick around the perimeter. Majette open on the arc.
The lead is back out to 4. Nice hands from Perry. The Jack Jumpers get moving up the floor. McIntosh took it himself. Did everything except finish. McCarron for Hannes. Got it.
Oh, great push from McCarron. He missed Daniel Johnson. Johnson was open as he stepped towards the hoop, but he found his shooter on the arc, and Hannes knocked it in.
19 points for the sharpshooter. How do the Jack Jumpers respond? McIntosh found himself in a spot of bother. You can see Todd Withers there in his first game, just looking a little gassed as well. Just looked over to CJ Bruton and said, next available, please.
McIntosh is a bit frustrated. He checks out. Jack McVeigh checks back in. He's fresh. The energy guy coming in for the Jack Jumpers. Resuming that matchup with his former teammate Daniel Johnson.
Bairstow playing with 4 fouls. Misses with the left hand. Adams pulls it back out. He's guarded by Johnson. Drives. Help D was good from Bairstow. And that will be the end of Cam Bairstow's afternoon as he's called for a block. Replay of that would be worth seeing again.
Joshua Adams comes up grabbing his right elbow. It was a bang-bang play. Jock Berry needs to stay spaced out in that sort of situation. Adams gets the mismatch. He wants to take Daniel Johnson off the dribble, and Perry's job is to try to keep his man away and give Adams room to operate. As he stepped towards the basket, he brought Cam Bairstow into the play, and in the end the whistle went the Jack Jumpers' way.
Adelaide's looked up and all they've seen is Jack Jumpers. Everywhere they look around, they swarm.
And this is one of the things I've loved from Tassie so far in the preseason, their willingness and their intent to get up the floor defensively. you see they'll face guard the primary ball handler. They'll try to keep the ball out of Mitch McCarron's hands, make someone else advance it. Just try to be disruptive 94 feet of the floor.
It's a fairly straightforward foul on Jock Perry. See Todd Withers right there. That was about the moment that he said to CJ Bruton, "Up, I need some oxygen."
Perry comes out, Bairstow comes in. Still a matchup problem for Tassie. That one right there, Daniel Johnson. See if Adelaide make a focus of him. I mean, he's a focus at all times. He's such an offensive weapon, but Bairstow's going to find it tough to guard the superstar down low.
Falling away, that's vintage DJ. Locked away at 67.
He's got the strength to match it with Johnson. You could see him hold his position, but he just doesn't have the fleet of foot or the length. So Johnson fades away, shoots over the top.
Majet was open underneath, but slipped and had to kick it back out, and then McVeigh travels. Five minutes to play. Since quarter time, Hannah's has been a real danger for Adelaide. 19 points, 5 of 7 from the field. Sam McDaniel to be subbed back in, unfortunately, for Tasmania, because Josh Adams has fouled out. He's a fan favourite already, Liam. It's been 3 games. You could hear the warm applause there.
Oh, he's fun to watch. No doubt about that. Explosive player. Great athleticism, but can also knock it in from long range. Fouls out today with 10 points and 3 assists.
Mojave King to give the 36ers the lead. From 21 points down, they find themselves in front with 5 minutes left.
Oh my. The JackJumpers fans don't know what's going on. It was a basketball party in the Ulverston Stadium in the first quarter, and right now they are stunned as they look at the scoreboard and see their team down 3.
Steinel's 3 jumps out. Offensive rebound and put back Jack McVeigh. McCarron, nice find for Sunday Deck.
Beautiful from McCarron, great patience. He saw Sunday Deck sliding towards the rim and he knew he was open, but he didn't quite have the angle. So he just pounded it a couple more times, then looked off the defense and found his man under the hoop.
72-69. Final quarter action at the Ulverston Sports Centre. Been a huge fight back from the 36ers earlier today. Perth Wildcats winning by 9 over the Cairns Taipans. And up next on Wednesday, Liam, back here at Ulverston, it'll be the Taipans against the Brisbane Bullets. We've spoken about a lot of other teams today. We haven't spoken about the Bullets. How have you seen their blitz thus far?
Been impressed, really impressed. And a lot of that revolves around Lamar Patterson.
Yeah.
He was the guy I was most keen to see for Brisbane in the pre-season, just to have a look at how he was looking, how he was moving, how he was playing, and he looks good. As a result, that brings that whole Brisbane roster together.
Yeah.
It revolves around him being an all-league type performer. Sobey, of course, is going to be at that level. Robert Franks is legit. We haven't seen any of Isaiah Moss just yet.
No.
They've got to work him into the rotation as well. But, you know, those other guys, Dremick, Kadee, they are high, you know, they're experienced pros. And they're going to be there. But with Lamar Patterson playing at that level, and if Tyrell Harrison can take another leap this season, they're going to be right in the mix.
He looks set to have a good year, Tyrell Harrison. He'll get the chance with no Matt Hodgson. Majette fires away. Jack McVeigh once more on the offensive glass. You've got to love the way this guy goes about it.
Love it from McVeigh. Just bringing the energy that the Jack Jumpers needed. Checking into the game. Kyle McIntosh comes out. McVeigh comes in. Offensive rebounds, extra possessions, much needed buckets.
It's Johnson with an easy 2 after Bairstow fell over. Steindl. Now Majette. Fouled on the way through. McCarron got him above the shoulders.
Scott Roth wants to talk about it. They got some problems at the defensive end right now, the Jack Jumpers. First and foremost, they've got no answer for Daniel Johnson.
No.
At the moment. They really just don't have a matchup for him at all. And with Will Magnay not playing, I mean, obviously with him out there on the floor, that's a guy you can put on Johnson. If you're playing Humphreys and Johnson together, well, that's going to make things tough. But without Magnay, McVeigh's had some minutes, Bairstow's had some minutes, Krislovic, McIntosh, none of those guys are really able to handle Daniel Johnson. He's ticked up to 17 points now, 6 of 9 from the field. And it's his impact as well that's opening things up for other guys. Mitch McCarron's finding him. So there's all this attempt. Nobody wants to leave Daniel Johnson. Detch rolls to the rim. McCarron finds him. McCarron's up to 11 assists now. He's only taken 3 field goals, but has been moving the ball around nicely, finding the open guy, and Adelaide ticking the scoreboard over. They've got 19 points on the board already in the first 7 minutes or so of this fourth quarter.
Jack Jumpers in their win over Cairns had control for a lot of the game. They were almost front running because they did the work early. 3 minutes for us to learn a little about them and for them to perhaps learn a little bit about themselves. Majette, step back 3, off target. Jack McVeigh, offensive rebound, doing it again.
Big time impact. Jack McVeigh just finding ways to impact the game positively for his team. 3 big offensive rebounds.
And a score out of the timeout, importantly for the Jack Jumpers. McCarron, nice pass, cross court for Mojave King. That 3 looks good.
Couple of big fourth quarter knockdowns from King.
Back out to 4 the difference. McVeigh fouled on the floor by Hannes.
And that's really good to see from Mojave King. We've spoken about the focus that he needs to have defensively, but he also needs to knock down shots. And he has done that this afternoon. Perfectly set up right there, got right to the open space and stepped up and knocked it down. He's 3 of 5 from long range tonight. He's got 11 points on the board.
Majette drives, high arcing over the top of Isaac Humphreys. Two-point game at the Ulverston Sports Centre. Jack Jumpers fans, you can hear them. They want to stop. They go down to Humphreys and he delivers.
Good execution from Adelaide. No panic in them whatsoever at the offensive end. And they are punishing Jared Bairstow right now, whether it's Johnson, it's Humphreys, using the size advantage as Steindl responds from long range.
Captaincy looks good on Clint Steindl. 17 now in the game. Shooting at 7 of 12. Leading scorer for Tasmania. As Mojave King drives off the glass. Tough finish.
Great take, young fella. Put it on the deck, snaked his way through the lane, and the athleticism and length to finish off the glass.
Still 3 that separates these teams. McDaniel wheels around from the elbow. That jumps out. Offensive rebound, Bairstow. Steindl to tie it up. He misses. Humphreys drags it in.
Well, he dodged a bullet there. Adelaide. King leaves Bairstow and he gets the offensive rebound, but the Jack Jumpers don't make them pay.
And McCarron, the Adelaide captain, to use the full 24 available. Detch had a good look from there. How does the official see this? Foul on Johnson.
McVeigh and Johnson in the wrestle down low, the former 36ers teammates. And the foul goes against the Adelaide legend. Jack McVeigh is going to stroll the length of the floor, head to the free throw line to try to cut this game to 1.
Three years as an Adelaide 36er. Saw the opportunity this year to play starters minutes. He's played 22 of them today. And makes both free throws. CJ Bruton calling a timeout with 23 seconds left in the game.
A great response from the Jack Jumpers down the stretch of this fourth quarter because, geez, they were having a tough time of things. The game completely pivoted at halftime when Will Magnay got shut down. He was a dominant force in the opening half, and the Jack Jumpers found things difficult. Just scored 11 points in the third term, thanks to Clint Steindl just keeping their head above water. And everything was going Adelaide's way. They were able to build themselves, get out in a lead, a 4-point lead, and it looked like they were going to run away with things, but the Jack Jumpers have hung tough. Jack McVeigh off the bench late in this fourth quarter. 3 offensive rebounds, 3 putbacks. They've been able to find Clint Steindl open in the corner, and they've done enough to hang tough. Now for Adelaide, ball's got to go into Mitch McCarron's hands to begin with. He has been outstanding tonight. 12 assists for their new point guard recruit. And from there, I'd be finding Daniel Johnson. Put it in the block to DJ. Let him make a good decision down there. He's got 17. He's at 66% from the field.
It's the 14th game of the NBL Blitz. Only one game has been decided by more than 10 points, and that was when the Jack Jumpers beat Cairns by 15. Such a tight NBL 22 season that we've got coming your way.
Now Jack Jumpers are going to get after it because the shot clock will be turned off. So they're going to have to make a play, get a trap, try and force a turnover. They didn't actually want to foul. You see Josh Majette right there saying, hold up, we weren't trying to foul.
Yeah.
We're trying to get some pressure and get some traps and try to get a steal. And in the end, the official blows his whistle. Free throws to come.
Now it gets interesting. Two-point game.
No timeout from Scott Roth. Must be out of timeouts. And they've got the entire game clock to work with.
They can play for the win, or they can play to send it to overtime. Majette Guarded by Johnson. Up goes the three. It's well short. And the air's been taken out of the Ulverston Sports Centre.
Oh, they needed to get something better than that. No action. And just a long-range attempt on the buzzer as clock expires and the 36ers take the win.
What a comeback from 21 points down. The Adelaide 36ers survive a scare at the end, but they win it 82-80, and they're 3-0 in the NBL Blitz.
Well, that was a fun game. They looked dead in the water, the 36ers, in that opening quarter, down 21 at quarter time. And everything changed at halftime, as we've said. Will Magnay killed it in the first half. They shut him down, getting him ready for the regular season. And Adelaide, from that point on, grabbed the ascendancy. Good response from Tassie in that final term to hang tough, force it down to the wire. But the 36ers good enough to keep their preseason winning streak alive.
I know it's a bit of a kind of cliched basketball's the real winner kind of thing to say, Liam, but if you're a supporter of either team, you'd be pretty happy with what you've seen today, wouldn't you?
I think that's fair to say.
Or not.
Well, if you were Adelaide, I don't think you'd be too happy with the way they started that ball game.
Maybe not the start.
Because if Will Magnay had to continue to play, geez, I would have been on Tassie to take out that win, because they didn't have an answer for him in the early going. So that would be something of a concern, how slow they opened the game. But all in all, a good response. You saw your star point guard recruit, Mitch McCarron, get everybody involved, have 12 assists. Dusty Hannah's knocked down some shots. He had a team-high 19. And, Daniel Johnson did what he usually does, 17. And Isaac Humphreys continuing to, build on his recovery from injury, 11 and 6. So certainly some positive signs. Great play from Mojave King, especially down the stretch in that fourth quarter. He had 13 points and 4 assists. So certainly some positive signs. And again, they got the win. That's terrific. And if you're a basketball fan in Tassie, you got to love what the JackJumpers are bringing to the table. They're super fun to watch. Outstanding preseason debut from Will Magnay. So plenty for them to build on.
They just have a crack, Tasmania, don't they? They might not have the best roster. They might not, have the blue chipper like a Bryce Cotton or something like that. But they're going to turn up and they're going to play every time they're on the floor.
For sure. They're going to be a tough beat. We've spoken about they're going to have their lumps over the course of their first season as an expansion club, but they're going to be fun to watch, game in, game out. By the looks of things, they're going to be super competitive, and they're going to be playing in front of a fan base down there in Tassie that have been starved of high-level basketball for a really long time. So lots to be excited about in the Apple Isle.
They made a lot of noise today. It was great to see the Ulverston Sports Centre packed out. A couple of days break at the NBL Blitz, back at Ulverston on Wednesday for Cairns and Brisbane at 5:30 p.m. and then 7:30 p.m. the Perth Wildcats in a really interesting game will take on the Tasmania JackJumpers. The Wildcats winners earlier today, 96-87 over Cairns, and Adelaide hanging on for a 2-point win, 82-80. Liam, it's been a fun weekend. You go home and put your feet up. You've earned it.
Thanks, mate. Always a pleasure.
And a big thanks to everyone for joining us right across the weekend on KO Freebies, and of course our outstanding team behind the scenes for bringing you the broadcast. Until we see you next time on Wednesday, stay safe and thanks for being with us on the NBL Blitz on KO Freebies.